Welcome to the Live It Right podcast, hosted by John and Caitlin Lindsay. We're going to be talking all things health and wellness, from food, fitness, relationships. So if you want to live your best life and live it right, join us for this conversation.
So whether you're a health enthusiast, a busy professional, or someone looking to achieve a more fulfilling life, you're in the right place. Tune in, subscribe, and join our community as we explore the path to living it right.
Let's go. Welcome back to the Live It Right podcast, episode 16. We've been on a hiatus, but we're
Since
back.
the new year, yeah.
We're back, and we're going to be consistent.
Yeah, we're excited to be back. A lot has happened. We will be dissecting that over the next few episodes, but I think we need to start with the inevitable. Clearly, some big changes have happened. You may have seen a little bit here and there, but we are going to start with the elephant in the room. John actually left his job of almost 10 years about, what was that? 6 weeks? A month?
A little over a month ago.
Yeah.
Basically, maybe 5-ish weeks ago.
So let's kind of dive into why, what happened, what's evolved. Tell us all the things.
Yep. So I always find it funny because a lot of people that follow me on social media, and this is kind of by design, they have no idea that I had a full-time job. They thought the Movement Journey brand, he's a personal trainer, does mostly online stuff. And that's kind of the way I wanted it to be. Like, I wanted to separate full-time job and online business persona. But yeah, I was the fitness director of a wonderful high-end community outside of Savannah, Georgia for 10 years, ton of personal training and some general gym management. And, it was a phenomenal job. Early on in my career there, I couldn't imagine having a better fitness job. But as I started the Movement Journey brand roughly 6 years ago, probably, I saw that as my inevitable thing to get to, where I could monetize that to a point where it made sense to do that. And that way I could just pursue things I was really, really passionate about. But the job I had was like I said, a absolutely wonderful job. So it was so hard to leave. You hear so many stories of people who become entrepreneurs, whether it's online or in person, and they
burnout.
They tell these stories of like, I grinded my 9-to-5 corporate shitty job and saved money so I could start this so I could take my side hustle to the next level. I didn't have that problem. I had a side hustle, and I also loved my full-time job. So it was, that probably kept me at that job another year or two longer than I don't want to say I needed to, but I certainly could have left a year or two ago and been comfortable pursuing the movement journey to its full potential. But I just loved the job. Like, it was great people to work for. Part of me is still sad about leaving, but to get to where I really want to be, which is to make the Movement Journey brand exactly what I want it to be, which is a super high-end online offering for, a large group of people that just want to move better and live more. And to do that, it needs to be my full-time thing, where the quality of everything I do can be higher. My engagement with my community can be higher, all that stuff. So,
Well, I think one thing, I don't know, you could probably elaborate a little bit more on this, but when you started the Movement Journey, it was literally just putting things on Instagram. I mean, when I tell y'all, like, no editing, didn't care about lighting when he first started, like, just was like sharing his progress with what he was doing. I know I never saw it skyrocketing as quickly as it did. I mean, you deserve every bit of your success, but did you, I want you to kind of share, did you ever see, everyone says, or people think that you don't have a full-time job. Did you ever see this evolving the way it has, or did you have the mindset that you would be training in person for the majority of the rest of your career?
When I first started posting, absolutely not. I first started posting because I went to a couple fitness certifications, most notably a functional range conditioning certification. And a lot of the folks there were already putting stuff out on Instagram. And I didn't look at it as a way to make money. I looked at it as a way to, I looked at it more as like, oh, this is LinkedIn for fitness. Like this is 6 or 7 years ago, maybe even 8 years ago. And so I just thought, okay, if I ever do leave the job I'm at now, my future employer might look me up on social media. If my social media is showing that I'm super passionate about fitness, I have a really good knowledge base, they're going to look at my Instagram, and if they see that, that's going to be a little feather in my cap to get a job. That's kind of how I thought of it as. And then secondary to that, it was a great way to, at that time, I was already into mobility stuff, which wasn't mainstream at all. So to find like-minded people, it was a great way to interact with people that were into that as well. So I looked at it as an absolute necessity and just a way to network with like-minded people. Probably within a year or two of posting, I think I had gotten at least enough followers, and I saw where online training was going, where I was like, okay, there's money to be made in this. Did I know that's what I was ultimately going to do full time? No, but I would say probably the last at least 3 years, you and I have been talking about this. So
yeah. Not him leaving, but realizing the potential of the monetization piece of it. Obviously, eventually leading into leaving, but it's
you're talking about leaving, yeah.
Yeah, but just not knowing how the stability was not there at the beginning, obviously. Yeah.
And I can't stress enough, I really liked my in-person job. So it wasn't like I was like, I've got to grind and figure out all these behind-the-scene tactics so I can make this online brand really pop off so I can get the F out of here. I was really comfortable with my job and liked it. So it was nice to be able to slowly build this over time.
Yeah. I think one of the cool things, this is just a personal side note that I want to add, is like one thing that I've always loved, some encouragement for people out there. Like if you have a passion, like just share. Something I've always admired of you is you never overthought things. And you just shared what you were doing, how you were doing it. You were sharing your heart without caring too much about other people's opinions, trolls, overly editing. You didn't start spending thousands of dollars.
Guys with foot fetishes.
You didn't start spending thousands of dollars on video editing right away, which he still doesn't.
I still don't, yeah.
I'm his videographer if he doesn't do it himself. And I could learn a lot of things from him. I'm still working on that. So just a side note, if you're looking to pursue something, just start sharing organically. And I do think that's something that is, not that we're talking about social media, but I'm happy to see some of that is coming back, that people care about actually organic, not quite as edited and perfected everything. But that's something I've always admired about. And I think one reason why he grew so fast. But so that's a little bit of the background. Now that you've left your job, you can probably tell that we're not sitting under the oaks of Savannah, Georgia.
No,
we are not. We are in a new location. So we have moved. That is part of the hiatus of why we went quiet for a little bit. There's just been a lot happening. And by the way, that's why you saw me looking. Our contractor just drove by and waved.
Oh, that's who that was.
So
Cool.
We have now moved to Brevard, North Carolina. And if you didn't catch on to that, contractor, we unexpectedly are finishing the building of a home, which we're very excited about. I'll let John, give his 2 cents on that. But we are so happy to be here.
So I think we've been here 3 weeks, or this is finishing up week 3.
This is finishing week 3.
That would make sense. So we kind of had our sights on Brevard for probably, I think it was like summer of last year.
We came and
we had
did
kind of settled on it.
Just over a year ago. We came and rode in the Assault on the Carolinas
Cool
race.
Bike race. Yep. Road
I
race.
had never been here.
Yep.
So that was my first time in Brevard. And from my perspective, when we were here, there was something that just felt right. I am the emotional, obviously one of the two of us, but I just felt something was right. He was it was the best version of himself while he was here, while we were here. And I just felt like a pull to this place. I just felt this gravitation towards here. And that is what started the conversations of could we see ourselves moving
I
here?
don't think it was when we were here that time.
It wasn't?
No, but,
A lot has run together. I'm sorry.
well, over the summer, it was like late summer. Not to get into too much detail, but we owned 2 homes in Savannah. We were renting one as an Airbnb, thinking that would be a great long-term passive income source.
We're not the people for that.
Yeah.
It's just not our thing.
To be honest, we had our first home we purchased got really small, so we bought a bigger home in Savannah. We were able to rent the smaller home as an Airbnb, thinking it'd be just nice passive income. Wasn't for us, just became way more work than it needed to be. And, so we decided to sell that home. And I think deciding to sell it, it kind of triggered something in both of us that, like, we knew I was talking about leaving, and the writing on the wall was that I was going to leave my job probably in the next, 6 to 8 months.
And that meant leaving Savannah. This was not...
Well, it didn't at the time. But I think correct me if I'm wrong, I think getting rid of that tie of having that other property in Savannah, we were like, why do we even need to be here?
Yeah.
And so, nothing against Savannah, but...
We loved our time there. I think the best... Then, nothing negative to say about it. It was wonderful years. That is where our relationship...
grew and flourished, for sure.
Yeah. That's where we started our marriage. That's where... we have wonderful friends there. It's just... We did everything we could do there, and our passions and pursuits and where we want to take our businesses in the next step, that was not the most ideal place for that to happen. Yeah. So cutting ties with things there kind of opened up the conversation of, well, where do we see ourselves? And
you brought up Brevard first, actually. I would never have said it just because I didn't think she was a small town mountain girl, but this area of the country has always had, and oddly enough, we've taken a lot of vacations to various towns up here, and I've always just felt, it sounds cliche, but I've always felt at home, and it just feels, there's something about the North Carolina mountains. They just feel very inviting, especially the town of Brevard. Yeah. The outdoor recreation opportunities literally right outside your front door.
Rain or shine,
are unbelievable. Yeah. Cost of living is not high compared to other areas in the country. Yeah. So many people here are health conscious. I don't want to slam Savannah, but it's not a fit city, and that gets discouraging after a while.
Yeah.
Brevard, we've been here a little over 3 weeks now and spent a lot of time here now over the last 6 months. Very fit overall. It's a certified blue zone. Mm-hmm. So
the only reason why I've done one of my bike routes more than once is because I'm still trying to get used to being on routes alone. So I'll do them.
A lot of route opportunities.
So, literally, we could go out and not ride the same bike route for months. There's just really a trail running, insane. But one thing I'll say is, you said you've always felt like North Carolina mountains were home. Well, not to go backwards, but originally we had a COVID wedding. We were supposed to get married in Costa Rica. That didn't happen. So we ended up getting married in Highlands, which is about an hour from here. And it's funny how everything always worked out, because ever since I was a little girl, I never really talked about this because I was so excited about the Costa Rica piece, but I had always dreamt of getting married in the mountains at Christmas time because I love Christmas time. We got married in December in the North Carolina mountains, and ironically, we have now moved down the street about an hour. And this place just, let me just say, I think it was within the first week we were here, I had a long run on my training schedule. He was like, I'm going to go on a trail run. So I get a text message from him when I'm almost done that he was like, made it to John's Rock, and he took a selfie. So I think you ran 6 miles up, right? 5 or 6 miles up. Yep.
From the house.
Yeah, from the house.
To the trail, up to the lookout, John's Rock.
John's Rock, sent a selfie. I responded with a selfie, said, just crushed a half marathon. And I was like, it literally almost brought tears to my eyes. I was like, we're exactly where we're supposed to be. We are those people that get a high off of
it's an inspiring place.
It's so, the people here, And there is opportunity. He is 99.9% online, probably will be for a while. We'll see how that evolves, but I have flexibility. Was it hard for me to leave my clients? Yes. But there is a lot of opportunity around here. Maybe not directly in downtown Brevard, but there's a lot of people with vacation homes, stuff like that. So it evolved beautifully, and we are in a rental right now.
Currently in an Airbnb. Probably be here for another maybe up to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
But our house is right down the road, and it's finishing up
Check on it
nicely.
every day.
So super pumped about that. One thing I just want to go back and touch on is speaking about the people here being so fit. Like the other day, I went on a group bike ride, gravel ride, and these two dudes, they had to be at least 65, maybe 70. Maybe they're listening, but they crushed me up this climb like it was nobody's business. So, I mean, it's
humbling.
Exactly. But that's where I wanted to be. I wanted to be somewhere where, anything I go on, I'm not the best in the room. I do not like being the best in the room at anything. I always want to get better. And you do that by being around people that are better than you. And
you'll find a plethora of that here.
Totally, yeah. So many badasses that do just so much stuff. I mean, it's funny, we get just in random conversations with people, and they're like just talking about, I did an ultra, 100-miler, blah blah blah, 6 weeks ago, and it was
like casual conversation.
Just casual conversation, and it's like that's what I want to be surrounded by people who are always more or less like one-upping me. Like anytime I think I'm doing something cool, nope, there's two dudes or two gals down the road who did that tenfold or something. So,
so that's a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a tidbit, a little, dip of the toe in the water. On why we chose Brevard, but we'll
probably do a bigger as we. We're still new here. As we learn more about the area, we'll probably do a deep dive, maybe kind of like almost like a tourism sales pitch for it, because it really is. I mean, if you're in the southeast area, it's close to a lot of. I mean, it's not a bad drive from Atlanta. It's not a bad drive from Charlotte. It's probably not that bad from DC.
Yeah. 30 minutes from Asheville.
A lot of metro areas. It's probably not that bad of a drive from, and it's truly an escape. It's really nice.
What is it? 90 minutes from Greenville, which is
probably.
so super close.
Nashville. I mean, lots of It's in a good location.
Yeah, but we will each be doing a deep dive episode where one of us kind of interviews the other on what's next, and we're going to be going into a lot more depth of what to expect from us.
Yep.
With the house not quite being done, we are kind of at a little bit of a placeholder timing where we can't fully fledged get into video, like all the things, the content that we want to do, but we will be giving you a full-blown rundown of what to expect from each of us. But like for now, we want just little snippet, little skim the surface of what to expect. And I guess I'll kind of talk a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
As I mentioned a few minutes ago, Brevard is like so perfectly located. We're 30 minutes from Asheville, and then really close to Highlands and Cashers, if you've ever heard of those locations. Just a lot of vacation homes, a lot of private communities, things like that. So I will still be doing some private events, a select number each year. So I will take those on, few and far between, but really want to hone in on creating a much more robust wellness, luxury wellness retreats, really diving into Fit to Retreat from a in-person perspective, but those will be a select number of times a year as well. But John and I really desire to have flexibility and freedom to do the things that we are passionate about and pursue those things to the fullest. So I am really going to take a pivot and really hone in on online, building online. So offering you so much free content on a website that it will be a one-stop shop for recipes, entertaining, wellness, all of that as a whole. So a holistic, all-encompassing, like holistic wellness brand. And I'm really excited that is being developed as we speak. So that's just skimming the surface. We'll go a little bit more into detail in a separate episode. But I know John really is, like he mentioned earlier, going to really, really put so much time and effort into the app. And I'll let him kind of wrap up with that.
Yeah, I mean, you said this earlier, but I've kind of like, for me, because this was a side business, I put a lot of effort into making my app content. But as far as like my Instagram and other marketing goes, it was just like, yep. I mean, a lot of it is kind of like, yeah, here's some cool moves I did the other day, or I'd have like an aha moment of, these are drills beginners need to see, or this would be a great message and a fun way to get this message out, whatever. So I've been trying until we get into our new spot, because I'll do a lot of filming once we get into our new spot. So the aesthetic is really clean and the app just looks very, very high quality. But until then, I mean, I've been looking, I've never done any email marketing. I've never done any sort of really structured social media, flow or anything like that. So it's boring, but right now I'm just kind of understanding how I can, from a back end perspective of my brand, how I can elevate it through things like email marketing, giving you all more free stuff that eventually, ultimately, promotes my brand, and maybe you'll join my app, or maybe you'll do something that I'm charging money for, essentially an elevated service. But yeah, right now to make a long story short, I'm learning all the boring stuff I never did. So email marketing, making social media look a little cleaner, a little more flowy, how to better engage with folks on social media, a little bit on expanding reach on the other platforms, YouTube, stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, ultimately, I'm wanting to offer a better overall product to my followers and to my app users. I think my app's great right now, but I still think it's just tip of the iceberg of what I can offer, not just from a programming perspective, but also just a quality of the layout and everything. So the app company I work with, Tribe Fitness, is always leveling up on the things within their app that just make it a cooler and better user experience. So, they've come out with a bunch of cool stuff recently that makes the app flow better. So working with them to give you all just an overall better training tool. So,
but there are 4 words you told me, like your tagline, that I think just...
Yeah, my kind of mantra or tagline mantra saying is for my brand moving forward, and it kind of already has been, but it's now just on paper, of move better, live more. And that kind of speaks to why we're living where we are, because you can
do both of those.
Well, we move better. We do the supplemental training to move better, so we can live more, and living more is getting out around here and doing cool stuff. So I want to bring that to you all as well.
Yeah. So I think that wraps up episode 16. And next, like I said, we're going to start off with a really deep dive into John and kind of like how things have evolved. I know he gave you a little bit of a background, but we're going to have a dedicated episode where I'm going to pseudo interview him. And then we
might do an episode on, because we now see each other like 24/7. So we might do like I don't know what a cute title would be, but like couples working from home. There's a cuter title out there than that, but like...
And I will tell you...
working with your significant other or something. So.
I give us major kudos. I was somewhat nervous about that. I think it is working very well.
I do too.
I think we find a really good flow.
Took me a little bit to hit my stride. I've never worked from home, so...
Yeah.
And we're working out of an Airbnb.
Yeah. So...
But
that's the best place to start, because then when the doors open and we have all of the things at our fingertips, then... we'll be ready to rock and roll.
Yep.
But yeah, stay tuned. We'll see you in episode 17.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks.